I just went on an absolutely epic river camping trip where I camped on islands and went spelunking in an actual haunted treasure cave. Here's the video if you want to check that out. And although it was an amazing trip, filled with awesome memories for me, I definitely messed up. There were several pieces of gear that were just missing. So I'm gonna share those with you, and I'm also gonna share with you some gear that absolutely crushed it in a good way and exceeded my expectations. And there was some gear that was just a huge fail too. The kayak I used on this trip was a folding kayak from Tech, and I was actually really apprehensive about it because it folds up super small and the carrying capacity is 300 pounds. And I knew I would pretty much be at or exceeding that on this trip, having 3 days worth of gear with me and camera gear and climbing stuff. But it was actually pretty easy to fold up once I watched their how-to guide a few times. It only took me a few minutes, and I did bring an extra seat cushion with me, but even without it, I was pretty comfortable. So I would say this kayak crushed it. One piece of gear that I brought with me for mosquitoes was the Sawyer Picaridin lotion. I've used this stuff before and it's been pretty great. But this trip, the mosquitoes were insane. It didn't seem like the lotion did anything at all to stop them from biting me. So this time, it was a fail. And when we were hiking and looking for Death Song Cave, and even in the planning of this trip, I used the app Onyx Backcountry. I've used this app for years, and I love it. There is absolutely no way I would have found this place or even thought to do this crazy trip without it in the first place. I could not have done this without Onyx. This is literally picture perfect. Being able to tell where all the property lines are and boundaries. When we were searching for the caves, we were able to stay on the property that we were allowed to be on. And there were times when we could have picked a trail that would have taken us onto somebody else's property. What else is cool is that on Onyx, I was able to see like, okay, this is the west. I know the sun's gonna be setting. I wanna pick an island with a sandbar that's facing west with no other islands right in front of it. So I get this huge, wide open view of the sun setting. And that is exactly what I got. I love how easy it is to use this app and how much it gives me confidence to go outdoors and to try things like this. Onyx is not sponsoring this video, but I absolutely love the app. But they are giving you a chance at a discount. If you want to sign up for a free trial, go to the link in the description. You'll see my landing page there on Onyx's website, and they'll give you 20% off of a membership. That's 20% off of any of their membership tiers. That's pretty awesome. Get yourself a free trial. Try out Onyx for yourself. I've used Gaia, I've used All Trails. Onyx blows them away by far. So Onyx Backcountry crushed it for sure. I did forget to bring gloves and knee pads for the cave expedition. And this made it a lot more difficult for me to move around in the cave. We were there for like 2.5 hours inside the cave. So I was regretting my life choices for sure. One thing that's true about this cave is it's a lot of crawling. And with steel screws in my knee, it doesn't feel so great. I should have bought some knee pads. But the helmets I got off of Amazon for like 24 bucks, they crushed it. Well, I mean, technically they didn't crush it. That's why they're awesome. But anyways, best $24 I've ever spent. I decided to bring my Weight water shoes on this trip, and I'm glad I did. They were super comfy, and I just love the protective soles. I don't typically like sandals, so these were a really great option for me in the kayak and also at camp. And I wore my favorite pants inside the cave, despite the landowner telling me to wear bad clothes. I really wanted to like torture test these pants to see how they would hold up. Even without knee pads, and after 2.5 hours of rock and clay, here's how they look. I wear these at least once a week around the house, and I love them. They're just really comfortable, and they're my favorite pants to go adventuring in. Outdoor Vitals Sawtooth pants. As I mentioned earlier, the mosquitoes were fierce at camp, so I bought my tried and true Thermacell. I'm pleased to report that the Thermacell kept them at bay very nicely. That is until I ran out of fuel. So I had brought a partial fuel bottle with me here, and unfortunately, when it ran out of fuel, the mosquitoes ate me alive. Luckily, I had packed the Flextail Tiny Repel with me, which I wanted to try out on this trip. I hadn't gotten a chance to use it very much. So it is a battery-powered version of this, a smaller version of this. So I hung this up right outside my tent in the vestibule, and it definitely kept the mosquitoes from getting inside my tent when I got in and out of it. So I want to do some further testing, but so far I'm really liking this. In the morning, I made some breakfast and got to try out a new product to me, Delici Oats. I'm gonna try out some Delici Oats this morning. So you can make these as cold soak oats overnight, which is kind of cool. So I'd like to do the hot version this morning. Boiling water. and Delici Oats. And it was really good. The only gripe I had is that there's 2 portions in one bag, so I couldn't eat the rest of it, but it had a lot of flavor, it rehydrated well, tasted great, kept me going. So in the future, if I bring this stuff with me, I'm gonna probably use it over 2 days instead of the 1 day like I'd planned. I bought 2 bags of it, didn't notice that there was 2 portions per bag, so I had 4 servings of oatmeal with me, and I just didn't need to have that much with me, so that was my mistake. I should have been paying attention. And then I decided to make some coffee. And I always bring my titanium cup too. Well, I don't have any footage of me making coffee because I forgot to bring coffee grounds. For me, this was a miserable mistake because I love coffee very, 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 very much. That was probably the most egregious of all things that I missed on this trip. I was, however, really excited about this new piece of gear I got from Devin at Backcountry Exposure. He makes these 3-liter food bags and they're stellar. This is my new food bag from Backcountry Exposure. This is a bag that Devin has made. I got this from him. He's got a store on Etsy. Definitely check them out. They are made so well. The fabric is incredible, material's incredible. So if you're looking for an ultralight food bag for like a 3-day trip, get a 3-liter bag like this. Absolutely amazing. Crushed it. My tent tonight is the Outdoor Vitals 40S 1P. So I have 2 trekking poles and I'm gonna get this thing pitched. The only problem with using a trekking pole tent tonight is that the sand is very loose. So all of those stakes keep pulling out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some wet sand with my shovel and just pile it on top of the stakes. And that should help keep the tent in place tonight for me. Isn't this a lovely, lovely tent? I love this tent. Probably the worst oversight for me on this trip though was this. I might be ending the trip a little early because I only have 2 liters of water left. I have 10 miles to go on the river and it's gonna be another hot one today. I don't think I've ever made this mistake before, ever. I forgot my water filter at home. I mean, I had it out. I had it with all my gear to pack, and then somehow I took the bag and I put it over here and I packed my bag and left, and it was just sitting there when I came back. Dumb. I did not have enough water with me for the whole trip. I mean, you can make a checklist, but if you don't put the stuff in the bag, then what? Yeah. So I made my way downriver and ran into more missing items. My drone memory card was full, so I couldn't take more video. And then I realized I'd left my spare card in my car. And then I'd packed my small power bank this time, which meant I couldn't recharge my camera batteries either. So my content creation was really taking a hit. But even with all that I missed, I was still able to adjust and have a great time. I was really proud of the video that I was able to create. And here's another shameless plug for it if you want to go check it out now. And the gear that crushed it really made the trip awesome. So I put links for everything that I talked about in the description of the video for you to check out. And don't forget to get your free trial of Onyx Backcountry. Onyx gave me a special link. If you click on the link, it supports the channel, but you really will love the app. I have been using it for years and I could not imagine going out in the backcountry without it. It gives me a ton of confidence. I hope you found that useful, or at least entertaining. We'll see you later.